I Said I Love You First was supposed to be a celebration of Selena and Benny's love story, a tribute to something new and sacred. But behind the studio walls, something shifted. What started as a romantic project quietly transformed into a deeply personal reflection, and Benny was blindsided. He wasn't prepared for what Selena was really saying between the lines. And when the world heard it, his reaction, totally unexpected. So what's the real story behind this album? Let's unpack it. The truth, Benny said softly. I think with anything I put out, people are going to interpret it however they want. But even as he said that, his voice betrayed a hint of defensiveness. Honestly, most of this album, it's not what people are assuming. But assumptions have power, and the public wasn't buying the polite deflection. Not this time. Just days before the album's release on March 21st, Selena preemptively addressed the elephant in the room. In a Spotify video dropped on March 19th, she calmly stated that the project had nothing to do with her past relationship with Justin Bieber. But fans weren't convinced. The timing, the lyrics, the emotional undercurrent, it all said otherwise. Selena insisted her lyrics weren't about anyone specific. But anyone with ears and a memory could read between the lines. The words were too raw, too personal. They painted vivid scenes, moments that seemed torn straight from her history with Justin Bieber. And fans knew it. In an interview just days before the album dropped, Benny tried to downplay the storm already brewing. The interpretation is up to the audience, he said carefully. But most of this album, it's not what people think. Meanwhile, Selena was 2 steps ahead. On March 19th, just ahead of the March 21st release, she addressed the inevitable speculation through a Spotify video, subtly steering the narrative. She insisted the album wasn't about her history with Justin Bieber. But once fans got their hands on the lyrics, that statement started to crumble. Despite Selena's claims that no particular person inspired the tracks, fans weren't buying it. The lyrics felt too specific, too raw. Take You Said You Were. Sorry. A standout track filled with longing, closure, and emotional clarity. In it, Selena imagines a dream where an ex finally apologizes, something that never happened in real life. The pre-chorus is tender, but the chorus hits like a wave. I had a dream you said you were sorry. That was enough for me. It wasn't just poetic, it felt like a direct echo of unfinished business. Fans instantly connected the song to Justin Bieber, especially given his 2015 hit Sorry, which he once admitted was partially about Selena during his interview on The Ellen Show. The parallels were too loud to ignore. As anticipation grew before the album's release, speculation turned into near certainty. One fan tweeted, her 11th track, You Said You Were Sorry, it's gotta be about Justin. I hope it's true, LOL. Another pointed out how the title itself mirrors Bieber's own song, like a lyrical callback to a chapter that still feels unfinished. The internet lit up with speculation, and all eyes turned to Justin Bieber. The reason? The song's title. You Said You Were Sorry wasn't just poetic, it felt deliberate. Fans couldn't help but draw a direct line to Justin's 2015 hit Sorry, especially after he admitted during his appearance on The Ellen Show that the song was, at least in part, about Selena. That moment, Justin hesitating, then finally confessing a little bit with Ellen nudging him, had never really left public memory. Now, years later, Selena was dropping what felt like a musical response. One fan wrote, her 11th track? You Said You Were Sorry? That has to be about Justin. I hope it's true, LOL. Another noticed how even the wording echoed Justin's song title. Not subtly, but like an open door to a past that clearly hadn't closed. And this wasn't just one lyric. It was an emotional thesis. A reply not in tweets or interviews, but in melody. In Heartbreak, in closure that still carried a sting. But You Said You Were Sorry was just the beginning. Another track, one that had fans whispering even before its release, was Younger and Hotter Than Me. The title alone stirred up a storm, but the lyrics hit even harder. Selena had previewed a few lines in an earlier interview, and they stuck. I used to feel like an angel. Now I'm a dog on your leash, begging for more. It wasn't subtle. It was raw, confessional, and dripping with the kind of insecurity that only comes after loving someone who made you feel replaceable. In the full track, she paints a brutal picture of standing in a room surrounded by women who remind her of what she thinks she's lost. Youth, desirability, power. "All the girls at this party are younger and hotter than me," she sings, and the chorus doesn't pull back. "Wish I never loved you. We're not getting any younger, but your girlfriends seem to." It's vulnerable, haunting, and fans immediately linked it to her history with Justin Bieber. After all, it was just months after her split from him that he was publicly spotted with Hailey Baldwin, who's 4 years younger, reigniting the idea that Selena was living through her lyrics in real time. Then came the track that many fans couldn't stop talking about. "How does it feel to be forgotten?" The title alone felt like a dagger, and the lyrics didn't disappoint. Selena doesn't just skim the surface of heartbreak, she drags us into the silence after the storm. "You walked in, big-ass grin, talking like we're friends. Honey, what were you thinking?" she sings, delivering the kind of cold clarity that only comes from betrayal. Then the punchline. "He loves me. I love him. Look at you. Just look at you now." The sting in those lines had listeners instantly flashing back to her 2020 track, Look at Her Now, which chronicled her emotional comeback after the breakup. This new song felt like the darker mirror, not about the glow-up, but about confronting the ghost of someone who pretended to forget her. It wasn't just a reflection of old wounds, it was a challenge, a lyrical stare-down. Fans knew exactly who it was about, and if they didn't, Selena's tone made it painfully clear. This wasn't a song for closure, it was a song for reckoning. Another, standout on the album, Don't Want to Cry, dives deep into the emotional chaos of an on-again, off-again relationship. The kind where every apology feels recycled and every reunion feels doomed. Fans immediately interpreted it as a lyrical response to Justin Bieber's Sorry, especially when Selena sings, "I know I said I'd forgive you once, but baby, it's been 100 times and I still crawl back for more." The mirror couldn't be clearer. In Justin's 2015 track, he admits, "I made those mistakes maybe once or twice." By once or twice, I mean maybe a couple 100 times. Selena doesn't just echo the sentiment, she flips it. Her version isn't just about owning the US pain, it's about exposing the pattern. Later in the song, she describes watching her ex kiss someone else like I wasn't even there, a gut punch of a line that fans believe is rooted in real-life moments when Justin was publicly seen with other women during their rocky relationship. And just when you think she's about to explode, she reveals a heartbreaking restraint. "I should cause a scene for what you've done to me, but we both know I never will." It's a quiet devastation, one that lands harder than any scream ever could. The emotional weight of Don't Wanna Cry doesn't just lie in the betrayal, it lives in the confession. One of the most haunting lines comes when Selena admits, "Everybody knows I'm just another hand you hold in the toss." It's a raw recognition of disposability, of being a placeholder in someone else's pattern. In the special narrated edition of the album, Selena opens up about the track's meaning, revealing that it captured the feeling of being emotionally exhausted, stuck in something that once felt right, but now only brought confusion and pain. She described the song as a release, a final emotional purge from a cycle she knew she had to break. Though she never named who the song was about, the dots connected themselves. Fans didn't need confirmation. The emotions spoke louder than names. "I still cry," she admits in one of the final lines, "but not as much as I used to." It was subtle, but powerful. A quiet reclaiming of strength from years spent unraveling. That quiet strength extended beyond the music. In a deeply personal interview on the On Purpose with Jay Shetty podcast, Selena reflected on the impact of her past relationships, particularly her time with Justin Bieber. Though she remained measured and never directly referenced him, the weight of their history was unmistakable. She spoke about her struggles, admitting she used to be reactive, overwhelmed by emotions she didn't fully understand. It was during this turbulent chapter of her life that she chose to retreat, not in weakness, but in pursuit of healing. 5 years of solitude. That's how long she said she gave herself to grow, to reflect, to finally understand her patterns and pain. And even as she avoided calling anyone out, the undertone of heartbreak was present. Not bitter, but transformed. It became clear that no matter how much time passed or how far apart their lives drifted, Justin and Selena still lived rent-free in each other's emotional landscapes. To truly understand the gravity of what they had and lost, we have to go back. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez weren't just another celebrity couple, they were the couple, America's sweethearts. A modern fairy tale that began in 2009 when their managers introduced them. What started as an innocent friendship quickly turned into a public obsession. By the time they were first spotted cuddling over pancakes at an IHOP in 2010, the world was already rooting for them. But it wasn't until their now iconic kiss on a yacht in St. Lucia that the whispers turned into headlines. At just 16 and 18, they were thrown into a spotlight few could survive. And yet, for a while, they thrived in it. Red carpets, private movie screenings, tropical vacations, everything they did became a moment. Fans didn't just watch their relationship, they felt it. And as the years unfolded, so did the heartbreak. What once looked like a fairy tale began to fracture. Not with a bang, but with a slow unraveling that no one could ignore. By late 2012, the cracks had become too visible to hide. After nearly 2 years of highly public appearances and romantic milestones, Justin and Selena experienced their first official breakup. And from there, the ride only got rougher. In 2014, Justin's life spiraled. From arrests to wild headlines to losing custody of his pet monkey, his bad boy image started overshadowing his music. Meanwhile, Selena was quietly fighting her own battles. She entered rehab not just for her lupus, but also to recalibrate from the chaos that surrounded her personal life. As Justin's name became linked to an ever-growing list of models, and tensions with celebrities like Orlando Bloom made headlines, Selena kept a lower profile. But the weight of their story lingered. When Bieber unfollowed her on Instagram, in November 2014, it felt symbolic. The digital silence was deafening. Yet even then, in interviews, they both continued to defend each other. Selena told Ryan Seacrest she would always support him. Justin, speaking to Access Hollywood, said, "I'm never going to stop loving her or checking in on her." These weren't just passing comments. They were emotional threads left dangling, waiting to be pulled again. And those threads didn't stay loose for long. 2015 became the year fans dubbed the Lost Jelena years, a hazy, rumor-filled chapter where timelines blurred and emotions ran high. Both stars were linked to other people. Selena briefly dated DJ Zedd, while Justin's name kept surfacing, alongside Hailey Baldwin. But the questions never stopped. Were they really over? Had they moved on? And then came the music. Fans dissected every lyric from Bieber's Purpose album, especially the pointed lines in Love Yourself, which many believed were aimed at Selena. He never confirmed it, and maybe he didn't have to. The wounds were still fresh. By early 2016, Justin and Hailey were getting serious, and for a moment, it looked like the door had finally closed. But nothing with Jelena ever stayed closed for long. Just when fans had given up hope, one Instagram post, one church outing, was all it took to ignite the fire again. By the end of 2017, the Jelena flame was burning again. And this time, it felt different. Selena had just undergone a life-saving kidney transplant, and her emotional world had shifted. When she was seen having breakfast with Justin shortly after breaking up with The Weeknd, the media exploded. In days, they were spotted biking, going to church, sharing quiet moments that didn't feel staged. They felt familiar, real. When TMZ confirmed their reunion, fans rejoiced, cautiously hopeful that maybe, after all the chaos, they had finally found their way back. Then came that ice hockey kiss. Frozen forever in paparazzi flashbulbs, it was public, it was loud, and it looked like closure. But not the ending kind, the healing kind. Selena, in an interview with Billboard, said she now cherished the people who truly impacted her life. "I'm not 18 or 19 anymore," she said, hinting at maturity, acceptance, and maybe a love that had finally grown up. But as always with them, the timing would unravel before the promise could be fulfilled. By March 2018, it was clear something had shifted again. Though Selena had posted a sweet birthday tribute to Justin, their actions spoke louder than captions. They were leaving church separately. The sightings became less frequent. Reports claimed they were taking a break to focus on their spirituality. But fans had heard that one before. Then, out of nowhere, Justin's relationship with Hailey Baldwin re-entered the picture. And this time, it moved fast. By July, he had proposed to her in the Bahamas. It was a jarring pivot. For fans who believed Jelena were just on pause, it felt like a slap. And for Selena, the silence spoke volumes. How does a person go from soul-searching with you 1 month to ring shopping with someone else the next. The speed of it all made people wonder, had they ever really ended on clear terms? Or was this just another layer in a love story too? Complicated for clean endings? The answer, like their relationship, wasn't simple. Some believed Justin's decision to marry Hailey wasn't just about love, it was about relief, about stability. Insiders pointed to years of tension between Selena and Justin's inner circle, saying their friends and families never truly meshed. Meanwhile, Justin's bond with Hailey came with fewer complications and a stamp of approval from those closest to him. His father even praised the engagement publicly, calling it a relationship built on faith and support. In contrast, Jelena had always been a whirlwind, passionate, intense, but deeply unstable. That chaos wore on both of them. And when Selena posted a quiet, somber selfie just days after Hailey shared wedding photos, fans read between the pixels. "Me, all the time," her caption read, and suddenly it wasn't just a photo, it was a statement. One that didn't name names but said everything. In a candid interview with Fast Company, Selena finally peeled back the curtain on what that final breakup did to her. It wasn't just a heartbreak, it was a trigger that led her to quit Instagram altogether. At the time, she was the most followed woman on the platform, but that didn't protect her from the emotional wreckage. She handed over her account to an assistant, admitting that seeing constant updates, especially ones that involved Justin, was slowly crushing her self-esteem. "I'd just gotten my heart broken," she said. "I didn't need to see what everyone was doing." Social media had become a mirror reflecting everything she wasn't. Bodies she didn't have, lives she didn't lead, a love she had lost. She confessed that her changing body, brought on by health struggles and medication, made her feel embarrassed in a world that demanded perfection. And while she knew better, the shame was still real. The breakup didn't just fracture a relationship. It fractured her relationship with herself. But that fracture wasn't just emotional, it was clinical. In 2018, Selena Gomez was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a truth she kept private for 2 years, before revealing it during an Instagram Live with Miley Cyrus. It was a moment of rare vulnerability, one that shattered the illusion of polished celebrity strength. She admitted that before the diagnosis, she didn't understand the emotional swings she was experiencing. The highs were manic, the lows were suffocating, and through it all, she was trying to hold herself together in the public eye. Being seen as a role model only added pressure, making her second-guess every emotion, every confession. But once she had a name for what she was going through, she felt a strange kind of peace, a clarity. She got second opinions, she built a support system, and slowly she started to find a rhythm for survival. Not just as a star, but as a human being trying to manage pain that didn't care about fame. In 2019, Selena turned that pain into power with the release of Lose You to Love Me. It wasn't just a ballad, it was a funeral and a rebirth in the same breath. Written from the ashes of everything she had endured, the song was a love letter to letting go. In a heartfelt comment on the YouTube video, she wrote that she hoped the track would inspire listeners to rise from their own darkest moments. And when she sang, "I gave my all and they all know it. You turned me down and now it's showing. In 2 months, you replaced us like it was easy," fans didn't need a decoder ring. The timeline aligned too neatly. 2 months after their final split, Justin was engaged to Hailey, and Selena was left to rebuild herself, piece by fragile piece. The song was calm, composed, but every lyric was soaked in heartbreak. And by the time she reached the final verse, "And now the chapter is closed and done, it's goodbye for us," it felt like she was finally putting the period at the end of a decade-long sentence. But even after that emotional mic drop, Selena wasn't done. Just hours after releasing Lose You to Love Me, she surprised everyone with a second track. Look at Her Now. Where the first song mourned the end, this one celebrated survival. It was bold, fiery, and full of bite. She sang about betrayal, about bouncing back, about refusing to be broken by a boy's mistake. The message was clear. She wasn't a victim, she was evolving. Around the same time, Justin made headlines of his own. In the wake of his courthouse wedding to Hailey Baldwin, reports surfaced that he had tried to contact Selena, not once, but 23 times. She never answered. That silence became its own kind of reply. Later, in her track Ring, Selena dropped a sharp lyric. I received your message, all 23. The subtext? Crystal clear. It was a nod to those missed calls, and maybe to the closure she didn't need anymore. She followed it with, I'm Jordan with it, GOAT. Obviously, I'm aware of that. The tone had shifted. Selena wasn't asking for love back. She was reclaiming herself, one lyric at a time. Still, the past had a way of surfacing, even in unexpected places. In 2019, fans caught a curious detail in an Instagram video shared by Justin and Hailey. While playfully shutting down pregnancy rumors, eagle-eyed viewers zoomed in on something else: Justin's search history. Right there, among the tabs, was Selena Gomez's Coachella performance. The internet exploded. Was it accidental? Was he watching her set? Was she still on his mind? Justin quickly responded, claiming her performance appeared automatically in related searches after watching his own. I didn't even notice, he wrote, brushing it off. But fans weren't convinced. The timing, the context, the carelessness. It felt too specific to ignore. And though Justin insisted he had nothing to hide, the moment reignited a familiar question. Was Selena ever really out of his heart? Even when he tried to move forward, the internet, and perhaps his own curiosity, kept circling back to the girl who inspired so many of his most vulnerable songs. And while fans speculated about Justin's lingering feelings, a twist emerged. He wasn't the only one who might have been shaken. Reports later suggested that when news of Selena's engagement to Blanco broke, Justin felt something. A brief pang, a flash of the past. Despite having moved on with Hailey, despite building a marriage and a new chapter, something about Selena's announcement stirred emotions he couldn't quite suppress. But instead of reacting publicly, he stayed quiet, wishing her happiness, even if it stung a little. Meanwhile, Selena was bracing herself for the wave of rumors. She knew what people would say, that the timing was too perfect, that the engagement was meant to outshine Justin's baby news or steal back the spotlight. But she didn't care. With a quiet photo of her ring on Instagram, she let the moment speak for itself. And in doing so, she reminded everyone, this chapter wasn't about the past. It was hers, on her terms, but the universe had other plans. And the internet, as always, had receipts. Just hours after Selena posted a throwback video of her, Disney audition with the caption, "We not getting any younger," Justin uploaded a carousel of childhood photos from a Disneyland trip with Hailey. One of the captions, "Top bish." The timing was suspiciously poetic. Fans immediately lit up the comments, "Bro, why are both of you so obsessed with her?" Another joked, "They copy everything. Do they not have their own life?" It wasn't the first time Justin and Hailey's posts were accused of mirroring Selena's moves, and it wouldn't be the last. One fan wrote bluntly, "Selena posted as a kid, and so did he. Come on." Whether intentional or just an eerie coincidence, the synchronicity kept the love triangle narrative alive. It didn't matter how much time had passed or how far apart their lives had grown. The echoes were still there, bouncing off the walls of every post, every lyric, every silence. And those echoes weren't just internet theories, they were becoming legal threats. In March 2024, TMZ reported that Hailey Bieber was fed up with the non-stop rumors and was considering legal action against online users portraying her as a bully or stalker. The pressure was mounting. While Hailey tried to clear her name, wars raged on. Accusations swirled that she stole Justin, that she mimicked Selena, that she couldn't let go. Meanwhile, Selena remained largely silent, her restraint only fueling speculation. The internet wasn't just dissecting their past, it was dragging it, thread by thread, into the present. Despite years of separate lives, marriages, music, and healing, the emotional residue of Jelena refused to fade. It wasn't just about three people anymore, it had become a full-blown cultural obsession, kept alive by digital breadcrumbs and decades of unresolved tension. And those echoes weren't just internet theories, they were becoming legal threats. In March 2024, TMZ reported that Hailey Bieber was fed up with the non-stop rumors and was considering legal action against online users portraying her as a bully or stalker. The pressure was mounting. While Hailey tried to clear her name, wars raged on. Accusations swirled that she stole Justin, that she mimicked Selena, that she couldn't let go. Meanwhile, Selena remained largely silent, her restraint only fueling speculation. The internet wasn't just dissecting their past, it was dragging it, thread by thread, into the present. Despite years of separate lives, marriages, music, and healing, the emotional residue of Jelena refused to fade. It wasn't just about 3 people anymore. It had become a full-blown cultural obsession, kept alive by digital breadcrumbs and decades of unresolved tension. By early 2023, the online drama exploded into full-blown chaos. A wave of TikTok. Fans began to accuse Hailey of throwing subtle shade at Selena. Not just once, but for years. Old clips, past likes, cryptic captions, everything was suddenly under a microscope. The digital detectives didn't miss a beat, and the fallout was immediate. Selena gained 10 million followers on Instagram in a matter of days. Hailey, she dropped below 50 million. The numbers told a story of their own. And though both women publicly urged fans to stop the hate, even posting photos together in October 2022 in a surprising moment of unity, it wasn't enough. Every new post, every silence was read as a signal. In April 2023, Hailey publicly asked Selena's fans to back off. In response, Selena shut down claims that her skincare TikTok was a dig at Hailey. They tried to defuse the bomb, but the internet had already chosen sides. And once that storm starts, even the truth can't always quiet the thunder. In the months that followed, both women made visible efforts to calm the chaos. Hailey showed support for Selena during a Miley Cyrus live stream. Selena publicly condemned fan hate, reminding her followers that cruelty was never the answer. And in a moment that shocked everyone, they were photographed hugging at a public ice event. A gesture that seemed to declare, "We're done with the drama." But when Selena's My Mind and Me documentary dropped a month later, fans noticed something. Justin's name was absent, and Hailey's was completely unmentioned. Instead, Selena simply referred to her final breakup as the best thing that ever happened to me. It was a powerful statement, not shaded, just honest. And when asked about Hailey's Call Her Daddy interview, Selena kept it brief, refusing to fan the flames. But peace, it turns out, is fragile. By February 2023, a TikTok exchange between Selena and Kylie Jenner would drag everything back into the spotlight, and this time, it got uglier than ever.